What's going on, everybody? This is a lower mid-card podcast. I'm Kyle Driver.
And I'm Grind. And it's been another fascinating month of pro wrestling where, help me out here, Kyle.
There's just been too much going on.
There has been.
So they say, there's no such thing as too much of a good thing. But it's just so hard to keep up with everything. Because wrestling is just so fucking good right now. AEW's killing it. WWE's killing it.
It's been so good that we have not talked about AEW in the last 3 months.
And that's okay. I get it. It's obviously the smaller promotion.
Yep.
But there will be some time. So AEW homies, we will cover AEW soon. So yeah.
We're coming for you.
I'm coming, brother.
Yeah. AEW is not. We're not. We will get back to AEW at some point here soon. And I'm excited to talk about it. I mean, literally tonight I saw a little clip. I didn't get to see tonight's, but I saw a little clip where Paul White, aka the Big Show, made some form of a return. I don't know. It almost looks like a joke, but I'm excited. Why?
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, Paul White, Sting, Edge. Yeah. I mean, literally, I think it's the 50 and older club, which is pretty cool, man. All right, WWE Fastlane, man. It was a barn burner. Actually, I was kind of caught off guard. It started out with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus the Judgment Day for those tag team titles, those undisputed tag team titles. And my God, I literally stood up and said, "What the fuck? Why?"
It makes no sense.
And for those who don't know, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso ended up defeating the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And we had talked last episode about, the Judgment Day needing a run. There's nothing to gain here, right?
It just doesn't make sense. It feels sloppy.
Well,
why are we bouncing them back and forth like this?
Well, speaking of bouncing back and forth, a week later they lose them.
They lost them, and so now,
we're right back to where we were. So
so
that match literally cancels itself out, and my little moment of standing up, going, "What the fuck? Why?" doesn't even matter, right? Moving on, we had the LWO and their mystery opponent versus Bobby Lashley and Street Profits, and we fucking nailed it. I think people knew for months because WWE had signed Carlito, and once that rabbit was out of the hat, man, it was you knew what was coming. It was just a matter of time, and so sure enough, well, the weirdest part about this match to me personally was they started the match without their teammate.
Yeah. Majority of the match, it's just
Santos Escobar, right?
Santos Escobar. Sorry, Santos. I know you're a fan. My bad, dude. It's just long day.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's sitting there going, tit for tat, 1v2, and then out of nowhere, last 5 minutes, they're like, he'll be here. And here comes Carlito, and it's
running to the ring, very similar to Backlash. And what's even worse, in my opinion, I swear to God, at Backlash, maybe I'm crazy about this, crazy wrong about this, but I swear he came out with a steel chair at Backlash, and then he came out at Fastlane with the steel chair, running to the ring. I swear to God, that's kind of what happened in both scenarios. I was like, why are you running? You had all this time.
Yeah. Oh, now it's urgent.
Yeah. Now it's urgent.
Now you're in a hurry. Okay.
So
yeah, buddy.
That was wild. Carlito looks amazing. He does jacked out of his mind.
Looks great.
What he does with the LWO moving forward, I have no idea. I don't really. The LWO hasn't done a whole lot.
What you do with the LWO, honestly, I don't really care.
Yeah,
I do want to see Carlito heel. I love heel Carlito.
Yes.
That's
where he was his best, man. That's when he was his best. You know what's
he's just I'm just an LWO boy.
What's funny about that though is last podcast you mentioned that him and Bobby Lashley had beef. And since then we found out that they do, and they keep kind of sparring at each other. So it'll be interesting to see what develops in that regard. But yeah, dude, it was we kind of knew it was coming. It was fun. Right. I mean, it was fun,
Yeah, it was more gimmicky than anything because of him having, Santos Escobar having to go, 1v2 in a handicap for the most part, and all of a sudden
Absolutely.
Carlito and just saves the day.
Well, following that, you had Io Sky versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair for the women's WWE title. I truly thought a few weeks prior to this, I had seen that kind of match between Io Sky and Charlotte Flair. Asuka, we've talked about it 1,000 times. I mean, I can't deal with the thong. It almost comes up every episode how this fucking thong gets in the way of her performances.
He said the magic word! Like Pee-wee's Funhouse.
Just pops up on the screen. But dude, I mean, I thought I had kind of already seen the match, and I've already erased Asuka from my mind. So I was not, once again, dude, not shocked, like not blown away at all. They're pushing Io at the moment. I think she's a really good placeholder champion, and people love her, dude. But I'm just maybe it's a culture thing. I don't know. I don't look at her wrestling and go, wow. I don't look at her style, her image and go, ooh, or I don't make any of those fun noises. I get what they're doing, but for me, it does absolutely nothing. So this was the bathroom break match.
Yeah, it felt like a rerun.
Yep.
Because we've seen the match before, minus competitor, but it's just like, all right, cool, whatever. Like it was a match.
Yeah.
Io won, and
what's interesting as we're going over this card more and more, this card is kind of sounding like we both said whatever. I mean, it's like it was. I mean, have you ever seen a WWE Fastlane that you've been like, oh my god, this is the card of the year?
It was, it's like you have your fast lanes, you have your backlashes, like you have like the in betweens. That are the larger PLE. And it's fast. It's whatever. It's just to progress stories. It's to have the premiere event, whatever.
Exactly. Tell the story, extend the story. Bridge the story together, and that's what the next match did, man. The next match bridged the story. You got that star power in John Cena and LA Knight versus the Bloodline.
The megastar.
Yeah,
He's
megastar.
The megastar.
We'll get into that here in a little bit. It was. I mean, what did you honestly going into this match? I wish I remembered our takes on it, because this was the kind of match where there's no reason for the Bloodline to win. At all.
I think we went in with that in mind.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, if the Bloodline wins, like, what do you do with the story at that point? Right.
Nothing.
You kind of have to, like, I mean, it's a no brainer that John Cena and LA Knight win. And then that kind of progresses the story with LA Knight, because obviously he's white hot. He's getting pushed.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that here shortly.
Yeah.
And like the match was fine. It was okay. And like it panned out the way that we thought it would.
Exactly.
It was one of those predictable matches. It was still entertaining.
Fun.
I love LA Knight still. He's fucking incredible. And I'm just glad that he's getting his, just deserves. Yeah.
I am at a point with John Cena where he's just there. And he even kind of mentioned it on a recent episode of like,
he's playing his role and he knows it.
But he said he had not won like a singles 2-3 years or something like that. And I was like, yeah, dude. I mean, it's like, typically people would get super pumped to see John Cena. And I'll say honestly, man, when the first time he came out this year, I was stoked. But I feel like we need a competitive Cena. Otherwise, it's just very lackluster. Like him passing the guard, he's doing it in a way where he's passing it all at once, and that's his, like, this run has been all about passing the guard, or not passing the guard, passing the torch. What the fuck? Passing the guard is MMA.
Well, it's the change of the guard.
Yeah, change of the guard.
You're mixing
I was almost.
I knew what you were saying. That's the important.
I'm glad they were pushing LA Knight. It's kind of funny, man, because you look back on it 4 months ago and you were raging. I mean, you were so upset. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with the WWE?
Yeah,
and then they just like, it was like, oh, like they got it, and
it's like wait a second, obviously LA Knight, Cena win, and
then you move on to the main event. On to the main event, and the main event is
rerun.
It's a rerun. Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura 2 for the WWE World Championship. And this was a last man standing match. And I will admit, this was the best version of Shinsuke Nakamura I've seen. This was the best Seth Rollins match of his title reign, in my opinion. The spots that they had were great. I know some people really got on them about, them landing or Seth landing on a foam mat, but they're all fucking like, if you're upset about that, just so you guys know, like those foam mats are everywhere. They're all around the ring. They're all around the arena. Yeah. So get the fuck over it. Like
that still fucking hurts.
Yeah. Like, none of it is, I mean, listen, I will tell you.
Yeah, you take a bump on a foam mat and you tell me that you're going to fucking giggle over there.
Go to an event. This is all I got to say is go to an event, go get the worst seat in the house. And I promise you, you will hear bodies collide that should not collide. Like it sounds wrong. You know that sound and you go, oh, that had to mess them up. And so
100%.
Knowing what they're doing and knowing that they're putting their bodies on the line and knowing that Seth is having back issues as it was, there was a few moments there where Shinsuke Nakamura really looked like he was going to win. And I was crossing my fingers, that he would lose because I like Seth. I think he's great for the company. I think he's a company man. I think he's got the image. I think he to me, he always reminded me of a successor of of Hunter, of Triple H. And he could be that guy. And so I just thought that match was great. I thought the way it ended was wonderful. I'm glad it was there was some chaos. It felt hardcore somewhat. Thank God it's over because Shinsuke Nakamura, even though he's a great talent, in my opinion, he's not a world champion in the WWE, maybe in AEW, but literally on the grandest stage of them all, I could give a fuck about Shinsuke Nakamura. It's amazing with NXT though, how people are so over. And I watched him in NXT and I knew he was a rising star, man. I knew that there was something special about him. But I'm being 1,000% honest. For me, it never clicked. And so there's a core audience that it clicks with. But then when they transfer to the WWE, like to the main roster, sometimes it just doesn't work.
It doesn't fizzle out. And I think he did, like when he first was doing great.
Yeah.
Like I think he still had, he still carried that fire. I don't know, something has fallen off with it. I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you. Like me, I still think he's an incredible talent. He's very talented. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't get jazzed up about and I hope that turns around because again, I think he definitely has a place.
I'm telling you, they had, I think him as a heel is more interesting, and I think with that little anime cutscene that they did, like I said last time at the previous event,
you want more?
I do. I think that was one of the most unique things I've seen the WWE do in a while. And we need more of it. And so, like I said, turn him into the anime guy where literally he's cutting promos via, I don't know, just do something different with him. Expand his character, right? And I feel like the WWE is at a point where they're so focused on the younger talent that's in NXT that they look at people like Shinsuke who have been there. They're like, he's developed. This is who he is. And they're not really willing to put a ton of time into that character because he doesn't translate, I think, well, because he doesn't speak well. Like, he doesn't speak our language well. You know what I'm saying? And so they're like, I think there's a niche for that kind of character, but why push that when you can go get somebody from NXT who already has a rising star that, is younger, more attractive. Like there's so many different elements to it. And I've heard time and time again that they're just really, really centered around that NXT brand. And it makes fucking so much sense if you think about it. Hunter Hearns or Triple H, Paul Levesque, or is it Paul Levesque? Is it Levesque? Levesque. That guy, man. His best friend is Shawn Michaels, right? So, dude, Shawn is doing some tremendous work down in NXT. They're in cahoots, and that he wants to bring up those people. I think this is a sidebar, but I think that's why you see Becky down there, because Becky is literally getting these people ready for the main roster. Sure. Like, it seems like, oh, Becky's going and defending this title. No, what she's doing is she's giving them time with a fucking goat. And so they can learn and fast track them to the WWE because they're all money makers, and I think the WWE knows it. So somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura, I think their days are numbered. I really, really. Now, like I just think because his character, it's run its course, and they're not going to dump a whole lot of money in personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope they keep him around because I think he would be like a good like intercontinental champion. I think that would be fun.
He's the perfect mid-card guy.
Yeah. And I would actually like seeing that, but I think his days.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully not. I hope they come up with something with creative.
And you know what? It's not the worst thing too. Yeah. It's not the worst thing if I'm right on this, because if I'm right, dude, there's spots in other organizations. I mean, dude, we're not talking about it tonight, but TNA, like the idea that TNA is going to potentially pick up CM Punk. What the fuck? I mean, we're like I said, we're not getting into it, but there's organizations on the rise that are literally moving in that direction and could use talent like so.
If I would like to see him go,
that would be fucking great. I would probably actually like him in New Japan. That's the thing, right? Yeah. Like I would love to see somebody I know, somebody familiar in New Japan that is running the fucking show, right?
Well, I mean, you should start watching because Sasha Banks is.
I know she is Mercedes. Mercedes Benz or whatever her fucking name is.
That concludes Fastlane.
I'm glad you got that out.
Yeah, that was the right pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's the right pay-per-view. Okay.
I can't believe we sat there and forgot what fucking pay-per-view it was.
Dude,
oh my God. Dude.
I'm telling you, man, like this is the amount of wrestling that we are taking in is that it's like and basically what we just talked about for the last 20 minutes was all matches that were really not that great. I mean, literally I would give that card like an average of a C, a 2.5 in stars, whatever the fuck you want to do. It's very middle. And you know what? It kept me entertained. I watched it. I loved it. But
at the end of the day, it was still wrestling.
Yeah, it was still wrestling, man. But there's so much of it now, dude. So much. I mean, there's 3 shows from AEW. There's 3 shows from WWE. And then there's everything else going on.
Yeah.
I can't keep up. I'm trying.
Hard. It's hard.
It's crazy. Anyway, this Saturday, the other part of the world's WrestleMania goes down. And Crown Jewel. And without like butchering it, there's a time of year. I found this out last week when I was watching Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou in the boxing match, right? That they have it seems like a festival. I should have Googled this because now I'm just talking out my ass. But literally, they have it's a time of year. They call it like I don't want to say it because if I say it, it's going to probably be the wrong words. But it's a time of year where they start their festival or something like that. And this is the time of year where they get really entertainment. And it sounds like it's only like during that time of year they get into it. Easy. See how they pronounce it.
Riyadh. Okay. So I got you. It's
okay.
Riyadh. So
what the fuck
is Riyadh is also the capital of Saudi.
Okay, this is how much I don't know, and so I'm literally watching this last week, and they're going Riyadh season, and I'm like, what the fuck? What is Riyadh season, right? And so okay, I gotta look. What is a state-sponsored annual entertainment and sports festival part of the larger Saudi season?
Yeah, basically, there's like
it's a festival.
There's like a public fund that happens. That's how they pay for.
And they've been doing it
big events like this. Yeah,
and they've been doing it like the last 3 years.
Yeah,
from my understanding. And so I was kind of caught off guard last week. And then I recognized like, over there, wherever over there is Saudi Arabia, they, it looks like the reason that they have Crown Jewel right now is because of that. So what's really interesting is it seems like, and from my understanding from last week with Tyson and Ngannou, is that they are really spending millions of dollars like to make this the most state-of-the-art place for everyone around the world to come to during this time of year. And it seems like it's in the fall each year. That's the plan. And I don't know if you got to see any of that match, but the opening ceremony, dude, and this is so cool to touch on because I'm curious of Crown Jewel. They had a stage. Okay, so all the prelim matches, they went on in like an outdoor facility. For the main event, they moved everybody indoor to this like Coliseum, right?
Yeah.
And they had a stage. There was no ring. And I was like, where the fuck are they going to fight? They had a Titantron behind them. They had this circular stage. And they started talking, like the commentators started saying, like, this is the most state-of-the-art facility ever. They go, in just a moment, you're going to see this opening ceremony that is put together by the producers of the Super Bowl and all this. And I'm going, okay, like, cool, whatever, right? This stage, literally, they go, as they finish the performance, it's going to move back and the ring is going to pop up. It's going to come out of the ground, dude. And it did. It was amazing.
That's wild.
And then they just started walking out. So the performance was terrible. The audio engineer sucked. I don't know what happened there. If that's the dude who runs the Super Bowl, he should be fired. It sounds like he was fired because he's doing this event. But it was. Other than that, man, just the idea of seeing a stage move back and the ring pop out of the ground, I was like, oh my God, they're
look it up.
They're putting money into this. So when it comes to Crown Jewel, when it comes to WWE 2023 Crown Jewel, expect some surprises, because I would assume they're going to dump more money into this than they ever have. And from my understanding, they want it to be just as big, if not bigger, than WrestleMania. And Vince has gone on record to say that Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, that is their home. And I thought that was kind of a crazy thing to say, considering like the US kind of put them on the map. That's where professional wrestling has lived, right?
Yeah.
But obviously the money is in Saudi Arabia. And
you think?
Yeah, right. And I think Vince is in a little cahoots with them, and do not put it past him for Crown Jewel to become a bigger spectacle than WrestleMania. So it's like Christmas in June, just real,
Yeah. So here we are. We have Crown Jewel. We have the large Saudi event.
Yes.
Right?
Which is time and time again been terrible. It's been some of the worst matches you've ever seen, from The Undertaker versus Goldberg. I mean, dude.
And then one thing, I mean, like, because they throw ridiculous amounts of fuck off at the WWE for this, and they make these, it's like, hey, if this is going to happen, these are the people that we want to see. It's almost like, like you have these princes, and that it's a create your own pay-per-view for them.
Yep.
And so that's kind of how they've been treated. However, this one feels a little different.
It does.
Because we actually have storylines that are progressing through Crown Jewel. So it does feel a little bit different. I'm hoping that this is a good event, so that way, hopefully as good as it can be.
To me, I mean, you look at it and across the board, there is really not many people that have not been around, that like are part-timers who have not been around. They're just showing up for this event.
Yeah. These are main roster people.
Yeah. And the few that are part-time, they've been around this year. So
yeah,
it should flow in that regard.
Right.
I think it's going to be one of the cards that surprises me, because like I was telling you earlier, I believe off podcast, was that this one snuck up on me. I was not expecting this at all, and I knew it was coming, but I just kind of put it in the back and just thought, oh, it'll be here one of these days, kind of a thing, because it's one of the weirdest events, because for us, it's in the morning. And anytime they do that, man, it just throws me for a loop. So this is one of those times, but it's like a super card, dude. And it starts out pretty freaking fire, man, with a kickoff show match, which is something we don't see very often. They used to have them all the time. And I think in the past they've had some Andre the Giant battle royales or something along those lines, Saudi royals. But dude, what was the one that Braun Strowman won? He had a green belt. You remember that? Okay, well, the first match, the kickoff show match, is between Sami Zayn, JD McDonough, and I think this is a chance for JD to kind of prove that he's a fit member for the Judgment Day. I mean,
pre-shows are good. Like, I know that it was, like it's a part of like the whole, like more so the Judgment Day storyline than it is for like Sami Zayn.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's
Sami Zayn's doing his shit.
Yeah.
I do think that JD ends up winning. Is he going to win clean? That's kind of like the main question.
Probably not.
No, I mean, Judgment Day generally don't. So I do think in this match, it's going to be JD beating Sami, with assistance from somebody within the Judgment Day.
Yeah. And I think this is probably maybe the last test for JD or we're getting close. We have to be getting close because it's been months now.
Yeah.
So I think, if he wins over Sammy on one of the biggest stages of the year, even in the kickoff show, I'm assuming we're getting close to. So I think we're on the same page with that one. Moving on. The first match, the opening match, man. Cody's, man, that guy is such a company man. He is the opening. He's opening 2 cards in a row. He'll be opening the card versus Damian Priest. With really nothing on the line other than just machismo.
It's a grudge match.
I thought for sure this was going to be, and I feel like this whole entire year is how does Cody get to Rome? That's been the story all along this entire year.
And they even brought that up.
I know. And what's crazy is every time we think we're getting a little close, they throw us a fucking curveball. And the weirdest one is I'm like, okay, so is Cody gonna have Damian put the Money in the Bank on the line? Like, that would be cool, somehow that wasn't even a conversation. So with nothing to lose, I say Cody wins just because he's Cody.
I think Cody wins on this one. And then I don't think it's going to be the last that we see of Damian that night.
Nope.
So I do I think Cody wins easy.
A good point there that you just brought up is the fact that at the last event, at Fastlane, Damian wanted cash in and he was very eager to cash in, and Mommy was like, nope, stay cool, you need to rest, you're hurt. So I think this is the night he cashes. Well, we'll talk about that down the line, but basically, I think you're right. I think he's going to definitely show up again.
Whether he cashes in or not is another question. I like how they've been teasing it a lot. So it's just a matter of,
it's been one of the better Money in the Banks in a while. Last year we got Austin Theory, and that was hilarious. But moving on. The United States Championship match. This I'm so excited for. Rey Mysterio versus the utmost heel version of
Maverick.
Logan Paul. Which is so entertaining on so many levels because Logan has been, that dude is a freak. Let's call it what it is. You don't have to like him. The dude is just so talented. And the fact that he is able to go from boxing, pro wrestling, to doing everything he does with the Prime Energy drink and social media and whatnot, and the way he sells fights, whether it be pro wrestling or boxing, and intertwining both of them, that is genius, right? Not just that he had the most hilarious opponent in Dylan Dennis boxing, which made it even more pro wrestling themed. And anybody who watched that, you started to root for Logan. If you didn't like him, you started rooting for him anyway. And
because Dylan was such a fucking douchebag.
The ultimate, like, just bad dude. Like that dude's just a bad
not
dude.
A good person.
No.
Yeah, he's just not a person.
So it was weird because you start rooting for Logan, and then he calls out Ray at the end. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But then comes to WWE, and he's like, the last few weeks he's been all over Dom's nuts. And I'm like, what in the world is happening?
I like it.
I like it too.
I love it.
I love it, dude. It's hilarious, right?
Yes.
But it's so funny because the moment you start rooting for the Pauls, the moment he fucking turned the narrative and was like, nope, I want you to be drawn in, but we're gonna go back to the heel.
Yeah.
So I do believe in this match against Rey Mysterio. I do believe that Logan.
I agree. I think Logan is going to get the title.
Yep.
How long is he going to get the title? I'm not sure. I would assume it wouldn't be a very long title run just because.
Really?
I don't, because he's not a full timer.
Yeah.
I don't in him being a champion. I don't see that changing just because of his other obligations.
But what about?
Yeah,
but okay, so devil's advocate, but what about the idea of putting a little more pressure on the Intercontinental title, right? Because there hasn't been a ton of pressure on that, the change of the guard of that, and then maybe, Logan carries it to Mania. You see right now how they're still somehow able to keep Roman in the loop, and Roman's not on social media at all, where Logan could be on social media for the next fucking 5 months and keep it somewhat relevant, right?
I get it, but Logan Paul ain't Roman Reigns.
Very true.
He's an outsider.
Yeah.
at the end of the day. He still needs to prove himself, if, to convince people. But I do think he's going to win. I don't know how long the title run's going to be. I just don't think it's going to be anything like groundbreaking. Like, he'll have a run, and then, hopefully, he maybe becomes more of a full-time guy.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see, because he's very talented. He does a really good job in the ring. He goes toe to toe and tit for tat with Ricochet, who is one of the best in the business.
Amazing.
And so I hope he does. Because we need a really good fucking heel, and he makes a really good fucking heel.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have like a character or anything like that. He's just himself.
He's just literally
being a heel. Yeah, just literally him. Yeah. So I think he's gonna win. And we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah. I like that. The bathroom break match, in my opinion, is once again the women's championship match. You got Io Sky versus Bianca Belair, another rerun. We haven't seen this match too often, if we've ever seen it. But the thing is that Bianca has had her starlight for the last few years. Io she's on her run right now. The way she beat Bianca for the title when she cashed in Money in the Bank, this is kind of that redemption story for Bianca.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to think with this, because I've had multiple thoughts where I'm like, okay, Io continues her reign by doing something shady. And I've also had the thought that Bianca wins. With all the chaos, Bianca's somehow able to win, and she opens that wild door for Jade Cargill. And I think, unfortunately, man, the moment Jade Cargill steps into the picture, because they've been teasing her at these premium live events, I think this may be the opportunity where she shows up. And unfortunately, man, I think it'll be one of the best matches that we've seen in years between Bianca and Jade. But I think Jade is going to make Bianca look like a girl. And I just think that all that light that Bianca carries, Jade has so much more star power, and it's going to just walk all over that women's division. And, there's a very uniqueness in the way that Bianca Belair is built. She's very strong and whatnot. But when you look at Jade Cargill, it's very similar, but on another level. And so I'm not sure, but I'm assuming we're going to see Jade Cargill very near future. And what I'd like to see is Bianca win to set that up. So I'm going to go with Bianca's.
I'm trying to think if there is any if there's any history between Jade and any of like the women wrestlers, and use maybe like having history. And here's my personal. I'm going to share two things. My personal thoughts is I don't want Bianca to have the title. She just fucking had the title, and it's just like they just let her fucking have it. It just means like, oh, you're not injured anymore. Here's your fucking title back. That's how it feels to me. And I would much rather have Io Sky. I like Io. But I do what reality check. I do think that Bianca does pick up the title again. I'm not gonna be thrilled about it, but I would much rather have again, that match would be good. Bianca versus Jade. But Jade versus Io would be really good too.
I worry about the size of Jade, like with Io.
Yeah. Oh, she's a beast. She's a beast for sure. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and this is foreshadowing, and take it as you will. If you do have your Jade versus Bianca, I think it might be like a Drago versus fucking Creed type thing, where it's just a squash.
Yeah.
Where just Jade just wipes floor.
That's what I'm worried. Bianca. I'm so worried about that, because I think what you've seen with Bianca, what she's done for the WWE has been so good. But Jade here's the thing. She's just different. I try to explain it to my girlfriend, and explaining like, look at this woman.
She's a fucking.
She is going to take the WWE by storm and run with it, and there's not a single person that can stop her. Now Rhea may be able to have some conversation, but there's two belts. There's two belts.
Thereh enough room. There's two shows.
Yeah.
There's two shows.
But everybody else everybody else is kind of in a bad spot, because there's that top spot will be her spot. It's just a matter of time.
You're going to see a weird shift in the you're going to see some changes. Yeah. And I think it's going to be good. Yeah. I think it's going to shake up the competition. Hopefully Nia Jax just disappears again. That'd be incredible. Because she needs to stop fucking hurting everybody because she's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the WWE brought her back. Literally just please get fucking rid of her because she's just, I can't look at her. No. I can't listen to her.
Yep.
She's fucking terrible.
Dude.
And she's hurting people.
They gave her the mic like 3 weeks ago or like, no, 2 weeks ago. And she cut a promo and it was like, everybody was like, their jaw was dropped because it was so bad. It wasn't on par with everybody else.
No.
And it was like, what are you doing here? Like you physically can't keep people safe. We know that. You literally have one role. That's it. And you can't even stick to that role. You know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Get rid of Nia Jax and bring in Awesome Kong if you want to bring in like if you want to bring in a big body, then bring in Awesome Kong because she knows what the fuck she's doing. Nia Jax can literally go fuck herself. That's it. I'm sorry. I hate her so much.
I wonder if it's because she's tied to one of the WWE's historic families. I wonder if that's what it is. I honestly don't know.
Nepotism at its finest.
Okay. Well,
but that's my beef. I'm sorry. We went on a tangent there. I literally can't stand it.
No, it's okay because everything you said was accurate. And I think everybody else agrees with those statements. So kudos to you for standing up for what you
crushed it.
Yeah. Okay. So do we choose winners? I think I chose Bianca.
Yeah, I said in my heart of hearts I want Io, but like reality, it's going to be Bianca.
Moving on is another deep story dive match between John Cena and Solo Sikoa, which is really interesting to me because what this does, man, is it puts Solo on the map, and Solo's like rise to fame in pro wrestling has been so fast. He's in the game for a little over a year, and he is in there with the best. And I listen, I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's gonna be rough for John, but I think John gets there's no reason. John going into this match has stated that he hasn't won a singles match in 2,000 days. And so with that being said, you know, the 16-time world champion needs the win way more than Solo Sikoa needs this. So I don't really see any reason for Solo to win this. John needs.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be a really good, just solid match. Because Solo can carry.
Well, and John, I mean, listen,
John can go.
John has some of the best matches I've ever seen. John versus AJ Styles, one of the best matches I've ever seen. And
I know everyone shits on 4-move Cena, but you know, like whatever. I think he still goes hard.
He does. if it's done right, it will be amazing. If it's too short, it's going to feel maybe a little like Austin Theory at WrestleMania.
I think it'll be about a 15-minute.
Yeah, which is around. Yeah, I just please be better than that match at Mania. Yeah. That match was so. That hurt. Okay, so John, across the board. I think it's easy. It'll be fun. I really wish they do something with his hair. Like he's got Hollywood hair. And listen, I'm okay with it. He looks great in fucking commercials, great in the movies. He looks great when he shows up to the ring. When that fucking hat comes off, there is a donut-sized bald spot. And it's like, he knows it. We know it. It's okay. I get it. Father Time's a bitch. But at the same time, there's gotta be something like, I don't know. Hair.
Listen, I don't know, man. It sucks. I don't know what he wants to do. I mean, I get it. I feel him as a buddy or as a homie that's kind of going through a little, you know, getting older, a little hair thinning. Mm-hmm. I get it. You want to hold on to it as long as you can, because I'm not ready to go bald bro with beard. You know, like I'm not ready for. Like I was told, my barber's. You know, so I'm. Not that
you
bad.
Look fine. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's all back here. It's you know, male pattern baldness. That's exactly what Cena's got. Like he looks fine, like from up here, but when you see him from whatever. Anyway.
And the thing is, I mean, fucking fill it in with spray paint? I don't know. Just like, it's so obvious. It doesn't have to be that fun. I mean, maybe
get it together, Cena. It's called Rogaine, brother.
Dude, maybe the Rogaine spray would not work because it would just start melting in the middle of the ring. You're like, dude, what's that coming off his back? Oh wait, that's not okay. Anyway, moving on.
Cut that one out. Moving on.
Okay, so we covered John Cena, Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. The Women's World Championship match between Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Zoe Stark. So every person basically that she's fought or has fought on Mondays is literally fighting, and nobody is going to beat her. There's no way. We've seen the wait, did we see Zoe? No, we haven't seen Zoe Stark. Take that back. We've seen the Raquel Rodriguez match. She ain't winning that. We've seen her beat Nia Jax in the past prior to this title run.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler, nobody gives a fuck about her. I'm shocked she's even on this thing, dude.
I mean, they're giving her promos and stuff like that. So I think that they're like trying to keep her relevant.
Let's be honest here. Let's be honest, Kyle.
I get it.
No,
I understand.
Kyle, hold on. Did you watch any of those promos?
I get it. They're bad.
Did you?
I get
answer
it.
the question.
Bad.
Did you watch it?
I did. They're bad. I understand.
No, I mean, I never watched them. I
did, and they're bad. Okay, they're bad, and I feel for her, like, because she's talented.
Yeah,
but it's just I don't know, man. It's just not there.
No,
but work on it.
I don't want to put on a costume or something, man. Call yourself Batgirl. I fucking don't know. I mean, dude.
Rhea retains. That's basically it. And if for some reason, like someone in the back room has an aneurysm and thinks that it's a good fucking idea to give Nia Jax the title, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna be livid.
Is there anybody other? Yeah, I was gonna say, is there anybody else other than Rhea? It's Nia. That's the only one. Right? That's the only one that could win.
For the love of God, don't fucking do it. Okay? You hear me? Don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean, they have been building her up. And if I was to, you know what? That
terrifies me.
Yeah. Why did you fucking put that? You put that out into existence, bro. And now it's there.
I just want to be like, just you know what? Just anyone but Nia Jax.
You know, and now I feel like I could actually make a case for it. In the
don't do it. Let's not. Like I'm sorry. I regret saying anything about it.
Rhea Ripley wins.
Rhea wins.
And I think it's very dominant. I don't think there's a whole lot of anything that anybody can do. My question is when you beat this many people, who is left on that women's roster on a Monday? No one. I don't
know. Unless they got some fucking like dark horse that they're stashing away and they're just gonna like.
I mean, is it possible with Jade? Would be.
It is like, who are they gonna put her up against? Is the question.
I feel like
is she going to the red brand? Is she going blue brand? Like that's the thing. Like where are they going to put her? Where is she going to fit in? And then that's when the picture starts to reveal itself. And the thing is, that's the same thing in either of the promotions, right? Like, are you going to give Charlotte Flair the title for the 8 millionth time?
Yeah.
Like, like I'm tired of seeing that shit. So like, who do you have? So I'm hoping maybe they got someone stashed away that they're just like, let's get past Crown Jewel, start the road to WrestleMania shit, and then boom, here's this a fierce competitor. I think that would be dope. I would be.
They have to have somebody, because if they're willing to put this many people on the line, they're like, here's your cookie, like eat it now. You know, it's like I don't understand really where they would. I mean, now that you said the Nia Jax thing, I'm really trying to erase it from my mind, but I see it. I actually see that, which is disturbing on so many.
I would be so upset.
Yeah,
I would. I'd cry.
If Rhea wins this, though, which I do see it in a dominant fashion. Right. I just don't, like you said. I mean, it's got to be somebody different, because you just wiped out 4 potential opponents, and somebody like Zoe Stark, dude. I mean, really given no chance. She has been in the WWE on the main roster for 6 months. That's it. Like, why is she in a match for the world championship? You know, and I guess that just kind of goes back to like, dude, whatever happened to, and this is a whole side conversation, which we'll get into another day, but like, what the fuck with the women's division, like tag team champion? What is going on? It has been so bad.
You're telling me title right now.
Oh my God. It's so bad though, dude, because that's like, you have people
Piper Niven? Are you kidding me?
I know.
God. All right.
Who are they marketing her to? That's what I want to know.
Nobody. I mean, I can understand Chelsea Green. I can understand that. I think she's.
But to put her with a polar opposite?
Yeah, exactly. That's
my God.
Like, I'm your tag partner. Like that was fucking
the dumbest
shit. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay.
I get it.
All right. Okay. All right.
Dark spots of the women's division. We'll get to it.
We got two main events, in my opinion. I'm going to call. I'm assuming they're considering this women's championship match a main event as well. But I think in my eyes, you got two main events. Typically, it's called a co-main event. But the next match would be the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And listen, man, every promo I've seen, nothing has been good for Seth in this regard. It's all about Drew. The story is consistently about Drew. It's all about how, during the pandemic, how he kept company, how he never got his fair shot against Roman, and this is his fucking time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in my eyes, I understand Drew's appeal. Physically, I look at him, I go, that's a fucking pro wrestler. That's what he should look like, right?
He resonates with all those middle-aged moms. They just love him.
Oh, dude, I mean, he's got...
he revs their engine.
Yeah, he does. The bummer is that, like, in my opinion, like, his finisher's weak. He's not great on the mic. He's okay. It's like, Seth has everything, in my opinion. He's got every angle covered, right? His matches are so fucking interesting, but I fear the worst. And because we know what's going on with his Seth, and we know that he's actually somewhat hurt healing. I think this is it, man. I think Drew McIntyre pulls this off.
Really? Okay. Okay. I can see it.
They just signed him to a new contract too.
Did they really?
Well, that was what, 3-4 months ago. He was after Mania. He was AFK.
Let me see. I mean, like, this kid, he probably doesn't even have a keyboard. He's not a computer guy. He's old school.
Yeah.
But I think this could go either way. I really do. But I think the way that they're spinning everything does lean more towards, him taking or Drew winning the title. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad. I think I would be like, dude, Seth had a great fucking run with being injured and all that stuff, and dude needs a rest. So I think Drew winning is not a terrible thing. I think he can do okay. And then let Seth heal up and then come back for a rematch.
Now, to throw a wild curveball, this could be the match that Damian Priest.
That's what I'm saying.
Attempts to cash in.
A good one.
And the thing is the reason I state this match specifically is because there's been a lot of ties as of late that Seth and the Judgment Day have kind of been, and Drew have all been kind of talking, and there's been all these like, hey, if you had us, we could get you through. Yeah. So it may backfire on both of them, and it may be Damian time.
Yeah. Oh, they're playing both sides. They're trying to get someone to let their guard down and just fucking backstab them both.
Yeah, because the prior week there was like I believe Seth there was a promo where Seth cut it. It was stating how Drew was talking to
Rhea. Yeah, he was talking to Rhea. So that'll be interesting. Like I completely forgot that happened.
Yeah,
and that's a good point. Yeah. I agree with you. I think. Okay. Well, let's just all right. Let's do two things. Let's do what we like. Just our heart of hearts. What we think is going to happen, and then fever.
Okay, Drew. I want Seth to win, but okay, Drew wins. Drew wins.
Okay.
And then Fever Dream is that Damian, they come out middle of the match and they're out there and you don't know which side they're going to turn on, right? And you think that they're in Seth's corner, but then you think they're in Drew's, and then they choose a side, right? And they see that they're both kind of hurt, and then Damian cashes in.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm right there with you. I think like, I would love to see Seth keep it going because he's perfect at what he does.
Yep.
But like regardless of who wins it, right? It's just they're gonna come out. You don't know what's gonna happen. They're gonna help whoever first, and then to retain or to win or whatever, and then they fucking go ham on the other.
Now the question is does Damian win? Because like
I wouldn't be mad at it.
I wouldn't be mad at it, but then they carry and they're kind of they're talking about it. I mean, they've been talking about
might as well.
Yeah. That would be insane.
Well.
Miss Senor Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
With the briefcase, the fucking belt, and the tag team title.
The briefcase would be gone.
Well, no, I know, but he could still hold it up in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And honestly, I think that's great. I love the Judgment Day. I think that they are the most entertaining faction right now.
By
far, easy. Yeah. And I think that would be great. So I'm excited to see what happens. And it's like
2024. Okay, so hypothetically, say this fever dream happens. Here's another fever. Next year, dude, we get the return of the bloodline. Somehow they all come together.
Resurrection. New blood.
Dude, well, and I think we get some form of the bloodline versus the Judgment.
Well, yeah, that's super interesting because of there's some rumblings and some shifting around of things because there's a certain someone that was a part of a certain faction in NXT and this certain someone is no longer a part of the faction in NXT and we don't know where she is.
I was going to do a very bad rhyme there. I was going to say the daughter of
we're not going to do it. It's fine.
No. I was going to
but It'll be interesting. Like I'm good with that. Like we could sit here and talk like fever dreams all day.
Fever dreams are cool, man.
They really are.
But you know what's even cooler? You know what's even cooler, honestly?
The next
match. The WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match between your tribal chief Roman Reigns and the one, the only, LA Knight.
Yeah.
Man, this is one of the most in my opinion, one of the fastest shots to the top. And I think honestly, man, this is going to be one of those matches that is going to have you on tip, like, you're going to be just like the entire time freaking out of what's going to happen next, the entire match. But I think a lot of people are going to go home disappointed because I listen, I've learned my lesson. I've learned it time and time again. Paul Heyman has said we're only in the third. If there's anybody I fucking trust in this business, it's Paul. And there is no way. I just don't see it. You're telling me that in the middle of the year before Mania that Roman's going to just drop the title that he's been carrying for over 1,100 days? There's no fucking way. And say he does. Okay, cool. You have this massive moment. How you gonna top that at Mania? How you top it at Mania? You don't top it. And the other thing is that there's been a lot of news lately, and I've seen so many articles that have stated that Roman's taking time off, that he has no matches planned for the rest of the year. Okay, cool. Maybe he's working through an injury. This man also had cancer at one point. Maybe he wants to make sure his body's in tip-top shape. It's not like he's been putting on a fucking lot of, it's not like he's been having a ton of matches right now anyway. Right. And the end of the year is only 2 more months. We're not talking a long time here. So
we'll get into the semantics. So
so I'm going with Roman. I don't see any way, shape, or form that LA Knight wins and carries it into the future right now. At least I do think that he is a top guy that literally you could have him eventually be the guy that takes down Reigns. But I think this is what the WWE is doing personally. They saw the numbers at WrestleMania with Cody. They saw the numbers. They saw the viewership. They saw all of it, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't they why would they just give it to LA Knight when his career has been so short-lived, by the way? I mean, it's so brand new.
Yeah.
Why would you give him the keys to the kingdom if you don't know, one, how long it's going to last, and then 2, see how well he bounces back after the loss, right? So I truly believe that there's really no scenario where LA Knight wins.
I agree with you. I think in this situation, with this match, I don't think LA Knight wins. I don't. However, I believe that we're going to have a rematch with Roman Reigns, LA Knight, because, and I know that they said that he's not scheduled for anything, but we have a large pay-per-view after Crown Jewel, and that's Survivor.
Oh, Survivor Series and Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But that's in January.
Royal Rumble is
January, pretty sure.
Make sure. Royal Rumble 2024, January 27th.
Okay. So yeah,
3 months away.
We have one more big.
Right. So here's a couple things that I'm like, I do think LA Knight will have gold
100%.
relatively soon.
100%.
Like really soon. And I have seen the news about him, like Roman Reigns not having any more matches after Crown Jewel. That doesn't necessarily mean that we can't fit one in somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're going to do, and I will be like, of course, I'd be pumped if LA Knight got the title. I'd be ecstatic. But reality, I don't think he is, because that's not how we've been doing things in the WWE.
Yep.
We don't do just one-offs and change hands. You make it more than one match. You squeeze blood out of the stone. And I don't know if that's the thing, but anyway, you know what I'm saying.
It'll work. Just keep going.
Yeah, yes, you're on a roll, kid. Anyway, yeah. I wouldn't put it past it maybe dropping at Royal Rumble.
That's interesting.
And him winning at more of a premium PLE, whether it, maybe even Survivor Series, who knows? Because that,
you think that's a more premium PLE than Crown Jewel? It
all depends on how you look at it, right? In the grand scheme of things, Crown Jewel monetarily is a lot bigger than Survivor Series, right? But I still don't think that, I still think a lot of the WWE the fans still don't recognize it as it being
100%. I didn't. I forgot it was happening. It was,
which it happened November 5th last year.
I know.
I was looking that up. That's crazy. It's just we completely forgot about it. But anyway, so I still Survivor Series is still one of the top ones. And I know that they're trying to make Crown Jewel one of the
Christmas in July, Christmas in June, whatever.
Deal. So we'll see. But at this juncture with this push with LA Knight, I don't see him winning this match at Crown. So what happens next? I don't know.
I think what it does is it really opens another can of worms, which is great for Roman, because Roman doesn't have other than Cody to lean on at the moment. LA Knight kind of came in like a Stone Cold Steve Austin and really kind of was just out of fucking left field.
Yeah.
And just rose to the top really fucking quick. And like you said, I think he'll have gold. I would not be shocked if it's not till next year. It's wild to think about how many people there are for that world title. That could be at the top. For Roman, it's they've made this universal championship, this undisputed universal championship, the cream of the crop. And it really is, they're not giving it away to anybody without them earning.
Yeah.
And, everybody's dead set on Cody. At this point, I'm saying to myself, I thought after 1,000 days he'd hand it over kind of a thing, but you're so deep into the game, right? And, with Paul saying we're only in the third inning, you can have all this other star power. There's a whole nother fucking belt out there, man. Yeah. And I truly think that, as I know so many people are over it. So many people are over this Roman Reigns run. I'll tell you right now, man, if he was to hold it another 3 years, don't be shocked, because of the fact that literally what's stopping them from making him the greatest of all time at this?
Yeah. He already is. He's already the longest running champion
of the modern era.
The modern era. And here's the thing. It fucking annoys me. I don't like these. I don't like huge, long running, title runs. It's just to me, it gets boring. And for me personally, when I get it, Roman Reigns is the guy, but the man's only had 11 matches. Fucking barely been on TV. That fucking annoys me.
Yeah,
it's I get it. He put in the time. He put in the work. He got to where he is. But you got all these other guys that are busting their ass and carrying the company, and you're not doing shit. Paul Heyman and your cousins are doing all the fucking work. And it's just that annoys me, and that's just me with my personal feelings and all that shit. It's just
I think you're right, though. You're not the only one. There's I've read articles where they're Roman's reign needs to end now, and I'm thinking
it does,
but
I agree.
But it's not going to.
I get it, and I know it's not going to end.
What's crazy is here's the one thing I'm curious about is in 2 years, say it ends in the next 3 years, right? Are you going to look back and go, that was too fucking long? Or in 5 years from now, are you going to go, that was something special? And there's a lot of us that appreciate it while it was happening.
Yeah, I'm excited either way. Me personally, I'm kind of over Roman being the champion. I don't want to wait another 6 months of him being champion, because WrestleMania is in 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm fucking over it. I don't know. I'm bored of Roman Reigns being the champion. I think it's still like the bloodline stuff is still cool and entertaining, but just get better so that way you're on fucking right. Like that shit bugs me.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. And I think a lot of it is actually, some of it I think is put into his contract. I think it's like he's got a certain amount of shows he works, and then the rest is like vacation.
Good on you, man. Get the bag. Yeah. I can't hate on him for that, but it just like from a fan perspective.
Oh, it's super difficult in that regard. Like taking my kids to the show and then going, are we going to see Roman Reigns? And we're like,
probably not.
No, you're not going to.
No, you're not going to. Yeah. It's just like fucking, okay, cool. Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the only thing that's my biggest gripe.
I think that's a very sound gripe though, and I think everybody's. I would say a good 99% of people, other than myself, which for some weird reason I don't know, are I'm a fanboy. I'm a Roman boy. So
I get it. I understand. You like them. You like them big boys.
Yeah, I do, dude.
You like them big boys.
I love them. Okay. Well, with that being said, man,
I'm just kidding.
with that being said, that wraps up Crown Jewel and Fastlane, and we'll be back here again soon, relatively soon, talking about recapping everything that goes down here this weekend. I'm excited. I think it's going to overall, man. I think we're going to be blown away. There's enough matches here that have enough interest that literally I think I'm gonna be glued to the screen. I'll probably be texting you. You'll be texting me. It's gonna probably get a little wild. That being said, that wraps up the Lower Mid Card podcast. We'll see you soon.